All right. Okay, so I would like to call our Monday, February 7th, 9:30 a.m. work session to order. Could we start with the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
of the
United
United States of
Right.
America and to the republic
Republic
for which it stands,
stands
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome, everybody. I'd like to ask our Secretary Treasurer, William Fell IV, to call the roll, please.
He's coming.
Hello,
Hello.
Bill. Can you call the roll, please?
Yeah, I pushed the wrong button and got disconnected.
All right.
Edwina Jr.,
Present.
Ann Walker,
Here,
Bill Parrish,
Present. Good morning.
myself, Bill Pell, I'm here, and President Scott Horowitz,
I am here. I am here.
We have-
Okay, so
full board.
thank you. Thank you, Bill. All right, so let's jump right into this here. We're gonna have a busy day. I have a couple of applications on. I think the first one is asked to be put on hold. I don't think that they have the drawings into us, and I think we're gonna, for shoreline bulkheading, and they requested to go on hold, which I think is better until we get all the information. The next one that I have on is Lucas Torres, 53 Grant Boulevard. It's they're replacing a dilapidated wood dock pre-existing. They've attached a prior 1981 permit and doing a fixed 4x15 catwalk with a 4x15 hinge ramp, two 6x10 floats and two 40-inch by 14 finger floats to be secured by two existing pilings. Same place as the original permitted floats, ramp, and catwalk. The only difference is they're going to be utilizing the Easy Dock product instead of the wood product. So this is basically a replacement of what was there and prior permitted, and they have provided all the prior documentations for the file. So I don't have a problem with this. It's been done before, and they're using all compliant material.
will the docks be removed seasonally?
It doesn't indicate that it's going to be removed seasonally. No, it does not indicate, I believe, that they're going to be removed seasonally. But not Easy Dock is designed, unless it's in an area that's going to get heavy ice damage, Easy Dock is designed to stay in the water for the winter time. A lot of the marinas, you go to the Easy Dock dealer, you'll see they're not removing their docks. They leave them in for the winter. So if it's not in an area where it's going to be taken away or moved, they can remedy what they need with ice eaters. And they can keep that water open. So I don't.
It's not on the open bay. It's with
Exactly.
an enclosed
Right.
dredge body of water entire a bay. So you're not really going to have issues with ice sheeting off and breaking it up. And it's deep enough you can put an ice eater in there and maintain the water around it, so it won't foul the poles and pull them up.
Great, thanks, Ed. I didn't
Yeah.
see that it was on a Dug Canal initially.
Yeah, it's off of Grant Boulevard in the
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
headwaters of Tiana Bay.
Yeah, not necessarily a dug canal, but
Sorry,
like you said, yeah.
it looks like it is, but
So it's just a maintenance type of an application that's meeting the conformity to the prior permitted footprint with updated materials.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. It was an underwater piece of property underwater land that was dredged to make boating accessible for that community. It was, an arm off of the Tiana Bay.
okay.
Right. So I would move this forward. Just there's no reason not to.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to do the conditions?
We could do the conditions, or we could go with the conditions, I think, that are on the existing permit that are being renewed, but we could certainly go through the exercise here.
If you want,
Just want to
I
make
can
sure that-
go refer to the old permit.
Yeah, I would do that. I would refer to the old permit. That way we maintain consistency in the permitting because they are updating it. And you can
And
leave
is
that in
that
my
permit-
box.
When's that permit from?
81.
Yeah, maybe we should just take a quick look. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, make sure,
Hopefully we-
or updated.
All right, we'll look ahead and look at it. So he's got the updated easy doc material. So go back to the form,
Checklist.
go back to the checklist.
To the special conditions.
Please, Linnea.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, just because.
So go to,
Dock conditions.
yeah.
Limit of 2 boats.
Doc,
Yes.
no higher than,
26 inches.
yeah,
Over the water or the plants? Water, correct?
yeah.
Sorry.
And the limit of 2 boats.
Oh, thank you. I think the only ones would be the general permit conditions next,
Right.
right?
Notify the office.
Any other ones you might want to enter in that aren't on the checklist?
No, I could look at this in the, I want to compare the 81 to what's on there as well. So I'm going to look at it when I come in.
Okay,
How about,
But
how about,
It's got the
how about
compliant materials.
how about the walkway?
Either
Yeah.
that it must be like penetrating decking.
Yeah, going down
Um,
over the grass.
Is there a lot of submerged underwater aquatic vegetation in that area?
No,
I
there is
have-
not.
There's not, so
not.
I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't know what you're gonna accomplish with that. I would,
Okay. I haven't been in that creek.
yeah, you're not gonna, I think you're just gonna make a lot of extra work for no gain at all. He's basically redoing what it is that they have there, but with compliant material, getting rid of the old
Okay.
wood and putting in an easy dock as opposed to, what was there. So, I mean, they are bringing it up to more modern. It lasts a lot better. It holds up better in the ice. I just, it's a maintenance type of a project. And as opposed to them just doing this without consulting with the trustees, I commend them for coming in and working with us. So we got all compliant material with this. So I would say it's good to go. 81. All right.
I'm good with it, Scott.
Yep.
I'm good with it, Scott.
Move it. What about Mr. Warner?
Is a representative from Inner Science here?
Good question. They have to raise their hand. They are.
Is it Mike or is it Jim? Do you
I've
know
been
it?
working on this with Jim.
Not here.
I don't see him. Do you want to hold and see if he shows up later?
Yeah, please. As we held this over from the previous meeting because we ran out of time.
You've also got 7 Bayberry.
pulling it up
Yes.
for you guys right now.
Is Grant Reiner on here?
Yes.
Coming in.
Good morning, everyone. Can you see and hear me?
Remember,
Ken, nice to see you, Brant.
Good to see everyone again. How
Welcome.
is everyone? Good?
We're good.
yes.
Good. So Ed, do you want me to give him a rundown on what we're proposing to do here?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a property at 7 Bayberry Cove Lane in Shinnecock Hills. It is surrounded by Middle Pond and Honeypot Pond. Some of you may remember this project from the dock a few years ago, from the dredging that happened underneath the bridge. But it has a long history. Ed has been very familiar with the site over many years of working with me on it. And basically what we're looking to do right now is replace an old timber bulkhead with a new vinyl bulkhead. And the purpose of this is to be preemptive. The bulkhead is fairly stable, but there is some signs that it could fail at some point in the near future. So the owners on the island, there's 3 owners that use access over this common driveway. And the owners have decided that it's time to get out in front of this and get this bulkhead replaced to protect their driveway, protect the bridge, and also to keep any sediment from leaching out into Honeypot Pond or Middle Pond. So essentially, the project is take the existing sheathing out in small sections to make sure that there is no potential for sediment to be released into the ponds during the replacement. Replace the sheet piles as they go. Once they are finished, they put the face piles back in place, and the sheathing will be connected via tie rods that will run underneath the existing driveway. So the intention is to, again, be preemptive, to make sure that the driveway remains stable and that the material doesn't leach out into the ponds. And then the final piece of this is a small core log stabilization, bank stabilization on the most eastern side of the bulkhead wings on the east side of the bridge, again, to just make sure that that bank remains stable, that there is no potential for any erosion. And we think that's just a nice soft solution instead of a hard bulkhead return, to revegetate the bank and provide erosion control for that area. So
Scroll the plans well.
project, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Just want to look at the plans. Let's all look at these plans.
There's presently 2 tie rods that literally go from the west side to the east side under the roadway that hold the bridge, the approaches together now, because it was starting to buckle in a couple of the places. And if that was to happen, a lot of material would eventually end up into the pond, similar to what happened where the bridge is connected and on the approaches, that those that bulkhead did actually eventually fail there and put a lot of material into the channel, which subsequently the homeowners around the pond paid to have dredged. So it's been a project, an ongoing project for 12 years, I guess. And this is one of the pieces of the project. They replaced the bridge. They replaced the 2
Can you stop?
bulkheaded.
Excuse me, can you stop jumping around on the plans?
Sorry, I was just trying to fix the setting of
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
And the 2 bulkheads that face each other where the bridge is on them, they're new and have been replaced. All of that material that was done with, was basically an engineered bridge, because originally it was engineered and they had a new engineer of record. So it's all, load bearing, compliant, way it was done. So because that's the only access for any construction vehicles or any fire trucks to access the island in case there's an emergency over there. So everything had to be done to code as per the specifications. And that's why an engineer was brought in for that part of the bridge. Now, a few years later, they're looking to do this part of it. The one issue that was had when they did do the dredging is that where they're proposing the coir logs and the bank revegetation, there was some erosion that had happened. It's basically kind of stabilized itself, but doing a soft approach like the proposed is proposed on the application, I believe, is a good way to further shore up that bank and make sure that there's no sedimentation that gets into the pond. One of the things I'd like to recommend through this whole process is wherever the work is going to be done, that there is a silt curtain placed and, fencing, silt fencing and hay bales, if necessary, to, stop any material that could possibly access the wetlands on either side of the bridge.
Hey, Ed, do you know the water depth underneath the bridge now and the surrounding areas?
I don't have it offhand, Billy. We can ask to have it done if you think that's important, because in case any material gets in there, we'll have a baseline for it.
Yes, I was trying to find it on the plans. That's why I was trying to zoom in on it, but I don't see that. I can't tell if it's plans or not.
It is on there, Bill.
Okay.
If you zoom in, if she can zoom in a little bit more, you'll see their contours.
It was originally dredged.
On the underwater
It's
lane.
not allowing me to zoom
Water.
in. I'm trying to. Sorry.
I can see the
Yeah,
faint
but-
contours.
Yeah, but so Bill, I'm just looking at them right now. It's about on the south side of the bridge, it's about 4 feet.
Okay.
And right to the north side of the bridge, it's about 4 feet there too. So I would say under the bridge, you're in between, 3.5 to 4 feet.
Yeah, I would think that that should be checked before and after the job is done to make sure that we did not follow anything, nothing got out to maintain that.
So
Yeah.
if it does, I can take that into consideration. But if I also want the board to understand that if it gives you any comfort, our office has been engaged not only to design the project, because we did all the engineering work as well. This is a full engineering package. It's not just a drafted plan set. And our office will be overseeing the project from start to finish as well.
That's
We will
good.
not be doing the construction, but we will be doing the construction oversight. Again, one, to ensure that there is no impact, or we mitigate the impact wherever necessary during construction. But two, ultimately to make sure that the bulkhead is properly constructed to meet the engineering standards. Because as Ed indicated, there was some failure of a couple of the face piles a few years ago. And to fix that, they ran through rods underneath the roadway to attach the bulkhead on the east to the bulkhead on the west, using them as leverage to each other for any kind of lateral movement. So now that entire length of the bulkhead is going to be attached to itself. So again, failure in the future is going to be less likely, for hopefully the next 30 plus years. So yes, we will take everything you say into consideration in terms of the water depths to make sure that there's no sediment being deposited into that underwater land. And we definitely think that the sediment curtains, having siltation fencing on the water side of the bulkhead throughout the construction activity is appropriate. And if you want to make those conditions of the permit, I think that those are acceptable to us.
Yes, I think I also would want to put dredging in there. So if it does any escape and go into the underneath the bridge or in the surrounding areas, you can dredge it back, reclaim it.
Reclamation dredging, you mean, Bill? Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, you got it, Ed. I would put that in it. That way they don't have to come back.
Bill, you think this is a situation where this application will have substantial public interest, or do you think it's
In that area, yes. as Ed knows, that's why, I don't want to take a chance of, anyone saying that it got filled in.
Well, do you
So,
think we should err on the side of caution and have a public hearing on this?
I
It might be a good idea, Ed.
I think based on the locale and based on Brant, where are you at with the other permits necessary for this project?
So they're pending. Of course, you guys generally are the quickest for us to address. And I'm not going to say I oppose the public hearing. I would just like the board to consider the fact that what we're asking for here is a replacement, an in-place replacement with better materials, similar to what you just approved for the dock right before this application. I don't see how any public comments are going to impact what you've already discussed as mitigation, and the board not giving approval to replace this bulkhead. So that's just my comments. Again, we'll proceed however the board wants to. I just want you to understand that we try to take everything into consideration, like I said, in terms of soft solutions where we could, but we cannot do a soft solution on this vertical structure without having some encroachment into the wetland areas, which I think is something the board would want to avoid.
Right. So I think based on the fact that, and I appreciate you putting that on the record, because that's all good information. But I also, out of respect for the activity in this community surrounding Honey Pot Pond and the adjoining ponds and area, I think that based on the fact that those other applications are still pending, there's no harm in scheduling a public hearing on this at the earliest possible time, and further establishing the record and kind of hearing if there's any concerns from the public and addressing that officially. So I don't know what the rest of the board members' thoughts are on that, but
I think that's a good idea. Given the nature of, this is a neighborhood that's very interested in what goes on, and there's quite a lot of community input frequently on projects. So I think it would be prudent on our part
right.
to
So
do that.
What's the earliest date, Jess, we could schedule? It's the absolute earliest.
The absolute earliest is to prepare a notice of public hearing for Monday, March 7th, and then hold the public hearing Monday, March 21st.
Okay, so I think that's what we need to do.
I think history would dictate a public hearing would be proper in this situation.
Okay.
Just before we move on, could we see the aerial, please, Linnea? Or the photos?
And while you're pulling that up, just one more quick thing, just for the board and for the record again, DEC review, we expect it to be a general permit application review. So that just means that the DC recognizes the in-kind, in-place replacement of bulkheads in Suffolk and Nassau County. We're hoping that this project will qualify for that, which means expedited review, quasi-expedited review from the DC. The second thing is, as far as the Army Corps is concerned, again, we expect that this qualifies under nationwide permit criteria. Again, hoping that there will be some consideration for an expedited review from the Army Corps because it's an in-place replacement of a bulkhead. So another two things that I wanted the board just to consider in their deliberations on this application.
That's great. And that's why we're trying to do expedited scheduling of public hearing. And I think best to, reserve, the further commentary for that public hearing. That way it's all encompassed in that. And I think the board is moving in an efficient and prudent fashion relative to this project.
So I'm just looking at and thinking about a couple things, noticing that they're really healthy wetlands seaward of the bulkhead that's to be replaced. Where will the work be held? Where will the work be conducted?
All of the work is going to be from the upland areas.
Okay.
The only traffic that you would see down there is foot traffic to guide a pile into place or a sheet pile. But that is is something that we're very sensitive about. The island, the owners that live on the island are very aware of the importance of protecting these wetland areas at Honey Pot Pond and Middle Pond. So it would be of utmost importance for us to keep any no machinery at all, but as minimal foot traffic in that area as possible.
I'm also noticing that there's no mention of the buffer or what's to be done with the buffer on your cover sheet. I'm seeing that it's beach grass, or know that it's beach grass and sand. Will you be replacing the beach grass?
So there should be notes on the plans, if I'm remembering correctly, that specify that the area is to be reestablished with native materials.
Great. With no
but-
fertilizer? No
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
It's currently native
no.
materials, and they're going to put back, either what's there or something that's very similar to native seaside specific plant materials. And again, that's part of the construction oversight, is to make sure that that's all done properly. And of course, we would not object to the board making that a condition of the approval.
Right.
So Grant, some of this
That'll be
commentary. Go ahead.
That'll be through the public hearing process. So we got a long ways to go. If anybody wants access to this application, it's in my drawer. You can more than welcome to pull it out, take it apart, look at it. I met with Grant down here on site, walked it over, very diligently, because I understand how sensitive this area is. So we tried to take in consideration most of the issues that could possibly be hindering this project, but I don't think there's very many. So like I said, the application is in my drawer, and everybody's more than welcome to look at it, or maybe I can just have it emailed to you so you can look at it
Right.
on the iPads.
And I think it makes more sense, there's been some good discussion here, but I think it makes more sense to address those issues at the public hearing process. That way, everything is neatly packaged up
And that's put into the permit. It's on public record.
on that day.
Right.
Okay. So let's follow that expedited schedule that Jessica put forth.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Thanks, Grant.
Appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brad.
guys. Have a great day.
You too. Okay, Trustee Welker.
Mr. Whitty, I believe, is here, Charles. It might be Mr. Gazda for 43 Noyak Harbor Road. This is a application for a permit that was previously approved and was also at a prior work session. Unfortunately, though, the permit was allowed to expire, so this is a re-application for the permit. We had, at the prior work session, we asked for updated survey and also updated photos and an updated cover sheet, which have all been provided. Perhaps, though, Mr. Whitty, are you here? Perhaps you want to just describe the project for the board?
Can you go to the plans, please?
So while Mr. Whitty's coming on, this is a replacement for a dock that was damaged due to weather, I believe. And it's in Mill Creek. There's Mr. Whitty.
Hi, can everybody see and hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Do you want to describe your project?
Yes. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you. It's just this project, there was previously a dock on this property. It's in Noyak Creek.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And there was a dock there prior to us purchasing the property. It got damaged. It was either from ice or storm or something, and somebody took it upon themselves to just remove everything except for a few of the posts or the piles that supported it. Anyway, and we applied, and our plan was not to move forward with any construction until we had all the permits in place. And I wasn't paying attention. It took 2 more years to get all the building permits in place for this project, and the dock expired on silly me, but so that's why we're back again. But it's basically the replacement of a dock. We have hired people to design the dock. We've provided all the drawings, and I think we've done everything that the trustees would want as far as the materials, the height of it, everything that was required. So it's really, we're just trying to get this dock permit renewed, or I guess it's a new permit now because it expired for so long.
The one thing that we just need to look at maybe is what's the height, the water depth at the inside edge of the float?
There is a drawing with the soundings with there.
Yep. Can you zoom in, or is there a separate drawing, Mr. Whitty?
I would say that I have a copy of the survey. Maybe I can tell you what it is.
And I can zoom in more if you need me to.
Go ahead, zoom in.
If you can, I'm not sure how much the clarity.
Is it over here?
I'm just
feet at the outer terminus, it looks like.
But it's at the
Yeah, it looks
outer,
like-
terminus. It's at the outer, not the inner edge of the float. That's what I'm,
Looks like the in is 1.6 on the one end, on the south end.
yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm seeing too.
Might have to be pushed out a little bit.
Does it mean pushed out into deeper water?
A little
Yes.
bit, not much, not much.
Yeah, it's almost just the width of that float. That lagoon was recently dredged. And I don't know. Yeah, it was dredged a few years ago. I don't know exactly what the date was.
When was the soundings taken? When you update your survey, did they update that soundings?
No, I didn't have them go back.
You're talking about not that much difference.
Yeah.
5 feet.
Yeah. So that was from a Suffolk, was it Suffolk Environmental did that? And
This is
Yeah,
in the
the-
exact same place that the board prior approved this permit.
yes,
Yeah, but the only one question is it over the extended property line, looking at the dock and the property lines are not completely parallel? It looks like it could be potentially in that 10-foot area where we wouldn't
Yeah,
allow a dock.
you'd have to draw a line. You may have to shift it to like an L dock configuration, right?
Right. Yeah,
You may have
that
to
would work.
slide it and make it kind of an L
To the
or close
north.
to an L.
Mr. Whitty, do you know what we're referring to here?
I think I do. I'm looking at the property line. I guess it would be the south property line. So if you projected
Correct.
that seaward,
Right.
that point of the dock would need to be a minimum of 10 feet from that
Right.
property line. correct?
Exactly.
Correct.
Do you have
Yeah.
that measurement?
I gotta pull up Suffolk Environmental's drawing. I know it was
They
part of
usually
it.
would include it in the application.
Because you may have to, have them show that on there and then show that measurement. Maybe, is it here?
Right.
See now in this drawing, it looks like it may clear it.
Do you want me to zoom in a little bit more?
Well, there's no
There's no
line there
demarcation. Yeah.
for us to measure off of. So
Right.
perhaps we need that information because we may have to shift that float a
Yeah,
little bit over to comply.
you
So
need
it's
to
very
extend.
close.
And
You
I'm
need
look,
the
I'm just looking to kind of scale and see if I'm even in the ballpark. I think it's very, very close.
Yeah, it looks very close to the point where if instead of it hitting at the middle of where the ramp comes on, if you just shifted it, it would probably clear it if it doesn't clear it already, because it is close.
All you'd need to do is extend the southerly property line and then measure, scale it back to see where it lays out.
I'm
'Cause
looking
it's
at it
gonna-
right now. It's 1 inch is 30 feet is the scale. I have 3/8, which would be. It's right there. It's,
I think really
I
what
would-
you should do is just have them amend the plan showing that. And
Right,
either it clears it, and if it doesn't clear it, have him shift that float so that it does clear it. I would make that recommendation just to be safe, since it's not clearly demarcated on the plan. That's what I
Okay.
would recommend.
all right, so if we do that, if I do that, I guess, do I have to have the surveyor do that, or is it Suffolk Environmental?
I think Suffolk Environmental can do that, right? But what about,
moving the dock off 5 feet
right,
Well-
to accommodate.
what about the inner depth?
Well, if they're gonna, yeah, I mean, that's very close. I mean, that's very, very close. I mean, if they wanted to move it out a little bit, you're talking about,
Mr.
There-
Whitty, our regulations are that the inner edge of the floating dock has to be in 2.5 feet of water. And on the other, on the hydrographic survey, it showed that it was about, I don't know, 1.9 or something like that.
It said
So
like
we just have to bump.
He would need to submit amended plans anyhow. So
Yes.
going back to Suffolk Environmental, the question of the extended property line, the 10-foot buffer, and also the dock being shifted out, that would all be on an amended, plan.
right.
So
He-
that would all be done.
It's very close. I mean, on both of those points, he's very, very, very close. To be, I hate to use nitpicking as a term, but but on the property line, on the extended property line, you really want to make sure that you're making that 10-foot clearance.
Yeah, especially in this area, Scott.
Right? I mean, absolutely. You want to make sure
Yeah,
that's
I'm-
going on.
I'm
Have him
actually,
take a look at
I'm
this.
actually looking at the Suffolk Environmental drawings right now, and they are showing that this looks like the soundings are different. It looks like they are at 3.4.
That's the outside of the dock.
I'm looking at, there was the Suffolk Environmental Plan that was submitted. You're looking at the Saskus survey.
So
So
these are Fox's soundings that we're looking at. Linnea, on the plans, maybe, if we could switch to the plans, maybe, is it the cross section, Mr. Whitty?
What's
that you're
the
looking
date of
at?
the soundings on?
I am looking at the Suffolk Environmental. Okay, that's one sheet.
Yeah, no, that's a
So-
So
different.
that's okay. So it's okay. That's fine. We just have to check the 10 feet off the property line, because what you're showing us here looks like it's okay.
Right,
Yes, Scott,
and then,
that's what we want.
Right.
and now if you look at the next page,
I
think-
don't have a next page. This is the only other plans besides the one you guys were previously seeing that are scanned in.
okay, because we have Suffolk Environmentals, they're page 1 of 4. There was 4 sheets submitted originally, and I think that's page 3 of 4. But we have, it shows that in plan, it shows the soundings to be at on the north side, it's 2. I guess it's between 2.4 and
The distance out looks like it's fine based on these drawings.
Yeah.
It's just that where does the end of the float meet the extended property line? That's the question. Do you have a
That's the
diagram that
measurement.
shows that?
We would need the diagram showing the measurement, Scott.
okay,
Yes,
so
exactly. Clearly.
I can get I'll get the surveyor to put that on there, and I can resubmit.
Right. And if it doesn't clear that 10 foot, then you got to shift the float where the ramp comes in over so that it clears. It's probably very close.
Yeah.
You know, you see the other dock that's there. It's not, it doesn't look like is it hitting it straight in the middle? What am I looking at there?
The northerly one looks like they have a jet ski.
That's actually a jet ski float. It looks like
But
they added
that's
onto it.
that's what we're trying to accomplish, Scott, something like that with this other
Right.
dock.
I scaled it. I projected the line and scaled it. I came up with 3/8 of an inch at 30 feet per inch, and that comes out to 11.25
Right.
feet.
He may just clear it. It may be fine. Just have them show that, extend it out and show that on the plan. That way it's clear.
Okay. I'll probably, I'm gonna have Suffolk Environmental. I think, I'll check with both of them and see if Suffolk Environmental and or Saskis can do it. Because I think it's probably best to have it on both. I think
Yes.
the soundings that are on Saskis's, that might have been from before the place was dredged or something.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I know Suffolk Environmentals were more up to date.
Right.
It would be
The latest one that you showed us, you were fine on the depth. It's just a matter of the extended property line.
But it
Okay.
would be
Right.
great if they were consistent, Mr. Woody, you're right.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll hold this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But we'll hold this till the next meeting.
I have one
Okay,
more
well-
question.
Yes.
About this? Sorry. Hold on,
Yes,
Mr. Woody.
he might want to put a handrail down the ramp. I don't know how steep that's going to be.
Mr. Woody,
We can, if we need, and that's, the ramps are aluminum. They usually have a kind of a sleeve built into them where a handrail could be on it. So I have no problem with that.
Okay, it might be for safety because I don't know what your tide is there and how steep it's going to be.
3 feet,
Yes.
Billy.
Yeah. So that's one thing we might want to think about.
You're gonna buy one of those prefab aluminum ramps that generally,
Yeah, exactly.
that.
Yep, and they have the thing where you drop the rail and you put it, there's a set screw or a pin or something that holds it in place.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
thank you.
All right, we'll get this done, Ryan, get it back to you right away, and hopefully, I don't know, when would the next meeting be?
our next meeting is March 7th. So if you were to get things in quickly, we could certainly work towards having it on.
All right, terrific. I'll get that done the next 48 hours.
Okay.
If I can. Thank you
Okay.
very much. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I guess InterScience is on as well, right, Edward?
Yes. I
So do you
believe
want to
yes.
go back to yours or do you want to let Mr. Just do Joy Fishman?
Why don't we get rid of inner science, because I've been working on this for like a year.
Okay, so Glenn, you're gonna have to hang out for a minute, all right? Okay. So we'll go back to Trustee Warner's MH Ocean View LLC, 30 Ocean View Drive in Shinnecock Hills with InterScience.
He's coming.
Hello there.
Hi,
Hey, Jim, how are you?
tired.
Morning, Jim.
How's it going? Sorry about missing the start of the meeting.
It's all right, you're up now.
I was busy submitting stuff to the DEC.
All right, good man.
Now, Ed, you and I have discussed this project quite a bit. I guess there's one bulkhead to the east that's in disrepair and one bulkhead to the west that's in good shape. And the elevations down at the bulkhead are about 8 or close to 9. And I think the plans are okay. And I thought perhaps that I would clarify things by advising the board that we would be proposing the bulkhead at elevation 9. So other than that, I think this project should be one of those projects that proceeds with helical piles so that we don't have to tear up the slope. The slope is very high. Ocean View Drive is very high off of the bay. And I think to safely do this project, what we would like to do is propose in place replacement of the bulkhead, finished elevation 9 feet, and propose helical piles instead of opening up the slope and trying to provide a drag pile system with backing piles and tie rods. Those are my thoughts, Ed.
Yeah, this property is the old green lawn. If anybody was a flounder fisherman in Shinnecock Bay back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, this was basically a place where everybody would go off flounder fishing. It's been like this my whole entire life. It is a very steep slope. The only thing that the last 10 feet is, the most important part as far as the trustees go is to have an adequate buffer there, because basically all that rain and wash runoff is going to come straight down that slope. So in this project, it would be good to incorporate a nice, a beach grass, a thick beach grass buffer with a small walkway through it, which would access the beach. There is in the area of the Shinnecock Beach Road, there is a dock that is between the bulkhead and the dock itself. We need the ability for vehicles to pass and repass and foot traffic. So that's very important that we maintain that. But in kind and basically not a helical pile application, basically that property or that bulkhead's not going to come any further seaward than what it is right now. So we will be basically being allowed maintaining that public passing way in front of that bulkhead.
Your pictures, Ed?
Can you
Yes.
switch to the plans too, please?
I'm sorry, what did you ask for, Bill?
You have another set of plans for it, or just the one you just showed us?
I do have another set here. Hold on one second.
Thanks, Linnea.
Sure.
Is there a standard Shinnecock Beach Road nourishment condition for these properties?
No, there is not.
But
that's-
Ed, some of them you putting them on.
No, I've been
As-
trying to maintain them on all, Billy. That's
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 what I'm saying.
So
like
you're
this
doing
one-
that for this?
Well, I think this is a really important area because this has been, an area where it had quite a bit of erosion, and the beach height has, dropped down considerably over the last 20 years. So I think some of the other plans had, the ability for us to have the homeowner to put material in front of this bulkhead in case the beach someday becomes wet at low tide and high tide. So that's what we would probably ask for.
So that would be in the special conditions section?
That would be in the special conditions section. So unfortunately, James is in the office, and I would meet with him and go over this, part of the special conditions. So
You want to go that?
I don't know.
You want to have Sean, go over that with Sean to maintain consistency with the other ones that you did?
Yeah, I would like to go over that with Sean before we formally approve this, because I'm not in favor of approving any bulkhead or any project pending, signed documents. That hasn't gone very well for us. So I want to make sure that we have all the documents signed and put into place before we approve the actual application that we're reviewing. But I want everybody to be aware of what's going on down there and what needs to be done.
Here are the photos, Scott. Here we go.
This is the dock, which is just seaward of the property.
Yeah, I see exactly what Jim's saying. And, I concur with the buffering on this property, obviously.
Yeah, it's really steep.
Where's Jim? You got anything more to add, Jim?
The safest way to have a buffer there is to put up beach grass 10 feet wide. period. Beach grass ends up being the most reliable planting behind bulkheads. We've done it all over the place, and it's going to succeed. Anything else that you put there, I don't know. It's probably not going to succeed, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is we have a slope that goes uphill really drastically. So 10 feet with beach grass, the beach grass will be planted in April and will start to grow right away. And sooner or later, it'll be very good slope control.
I agree.
I think 9 feet finished height is fine. Helical piles is fine. I don't think it gets much better than that. And if the Board of Trustees is requiring sand in front of a bulkhead, I think that's fine. I don't think it's a big deal for this particular property. And we would comply with whatever the trustees came up with between Sean Cambridge and Ed Warner. So all that is fine. The bulkhead to the east is in really poor shape. The bulkhead to the west is brand new. So we would tie into that new bulkhead and hope that the guy to the east figures out what to do with his property at some point. But this bulkhead needs to be replaced. The old dock has been replaced. Those old pilings were the old CCA dock that used to be there. All that stuff is done. I think as long as Ed and Sean Cambridge provide to me whatever they want, special conditions, we'll adjust the plans and give them back to the town for approval.
So why don't we
We'll
hold
work-
this
Yep,
till the next
We'll
work
hold it up.
session, right?
yep. One quick question, the easterly, is there gonna be a return on the easterly side where it ties into that dilapidated bulkhead, Jim?
Yeah, we show a return on both sides, Ed, and the
Okay.
returns are in place. They're not any more, they're not any less. I don't think they need to be anything more. The bulkhead to the east is right along the face of the bulkhead at this property. So we're returning 10 feet into the grade.
Yeah, I think it's important with these returns, it maintains the integrity of the property even during a storm, because if the neighbor's bulkhead fails, their property will be secured.
I think we're okay with that. And we tie into the tie into the adjoining property, and we extended 12 feet of elevation in terms of the existing grade there. So we're going to pull right into 12 feet.
Okay,
I think it'll hold up the property and everything will be fine, no matter what happens to the guy to the east. So we're okay
All right.
there.
so I'll meet with Sean, go over this and get the paperwork over to your office, okay?
All right.
That's fine.
So let's put this on for the next work session. I think we
Yep.
can get this squared away by then.
All right.
You good with
thank
that,
you,
Jim?
everybody.
Sounds good, Scott.
Okay.
Next work session, I'll try to remember to appear promptly.
March 7th. We'll remind you, Jim.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
All right,
Yep.
Trustee Parrish and Glenn Just from JMO on Joy Fishman.
Yes, good morning. Mr. Just, we spoke briefly. You were going to go back and take a look at the property, tell us what you saw and about the application.
You want to give us a description also, Glenn, of the property? Go to the application.
The cover sheet, Linnea, please.
I have it up.
Just review this one, Layla.
46 Basket Neck Lane. Yep.
All right, so reconstruct in place and up to 18 inches higher in elevation, 178 feet of timber bulkhead, Navy style, vinyl sheathing. Dredge, 5 by 174, immediately seaward of the reconstructed bulkhead to a depth of -2. 4 foot by 174 timber boardwalk immediately landward, and then beach grass or Spartina, 12 inches on center, minimum of 10 landward of the reconstructed bulkhead, and all construction debris areas within 25-foot land of the reconstructed bulkhead. No treated timber to be used. You're up, Glenn.
Dion,
Where'd he go?
He's
he's
muted.
got his mic off. You have your mic off.
Can we help Glenn get unmuted?
I think I just did we all right?
Yeah.
Hello, how are you,
Yeah.
sir?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
We can. Hi, Glenn.
After speaking with Mr. Parrish, I did go back to the site and I saw what he had to say about the western section of the property as far as elevating the bulkhead. The existing bulkhead to the east is about 3 feet higher than this one. The one to the west was recently resheathed from the landward side, and they did not increase the height of the bulkhead. So what we thought we would do is for 15 feet, westernmost 15 feet of fisherman bulkhead, to drop that down to meet the elevation of the bulkhead to the west.
At how many feet?
15.
So 15 feet. How does that work? Do you have a cross section to show how that works with the current topography that's there now?
There you go.
Like how many
You-
cubic yards of backfill are you talking about here?
What's that now?
How much fill do you have to bring in order for that to make sense with what's there?
We're asking for 25 feet of fill. That would be, the dredge material. We use that for backfill.
Have you tried this before, Glenn,
Yes,
where you have,
yes,
and it's worked in flooding situations?
it has.
Can you go
Have
to,
you, sorry.
can
May I
we
just
please-
ask one more question? You've tried it in open bay situations like this where there's a long fetch?
Yes, we have.
I'm finished for now.
Edward, Bill, Powell, you have any thoughts?
can you go to the pictures of the property, please?
Yeah,
Let me just get them to the right angle for you
Yeah.
guys. There you
So
go.
you can see like right there, like if you look at that, you see exactly what he's saying about the property adjoining there. Look at the differential, look at that gap,
substantially higher.
substantially higher. It looks like maybe even over 3 feet, over 3 feet. And then, I just don't know if, bringing it at 18 down to only 15 feet, if that's going to transition, or if it doesn't have to stop and transition, prior to the 15 feet, and see how that all works out with the existing grade, so that you're not overwhelming the adjoining property that's not raised up.
Is there any
Creating
wetland?
some-
Is there any wetlands behind this bulkhead starting? It looks like this bulkhead's been dilapidated for a while.
It's been busted up for a while. There's a lot of overwash in this section of Merchants Bay, so close to the inlet as well. You can see that in the photos as well. But there is some vegetation behind the bulkhead.
The bulkhead to the south, which is higher, is that all filled in?
Is it all what?
Filled in up to the top of the bulkhead?
Yes,
You're asking if it's been overwashed?
I'm saying that the fisherman's has been overwashed. You can see it in that photograph right there. There has been historically quite a bit of overwash.
I understand that. I meant the property to the west.
No, I don't believe so.
Do you have an overhead shot of this?
On
neighborhood?
GIS,
Yes, please.
Yes,
or
Can you zoom in back along the water?
right here.
Yeah,
This is the farthest it'll let me zoom in.
okay.
I can move it though.
It looks like the bulkhead to the west, the higher bulkhead has got a lot of erosion going on
Yeah.
behind it too.
Linnea, can you back it up just a little bit so that we can see the properties on either side as well? Thanks. And you might have to move it
One
sort
more.
of back and forth in order to do that.
Is that
Yeah,
helpful?
So there's the property to the west. It has been overwashed, it looks like, but just on the edge by the return, right? Maybe a bit along that walkway.
That might be a hole in the bulkhead there too.
It's in
Linnea,
bad
can you
shape.
back it out a little bit more so we could see some, a couple of the other properties?
Did you say zoom out? I'm sorry.
Yeah, right, that's
Yeah.
good. Hmm. So they don't want to go 18 inches down this whole bulkhead. They want to go 18
they-
inches, but
they-
have 15 of it be higher.
No, they want to go 18 the whole way, but when we went to look at the site conditions, it didn't look like it was going to transition to the other adjoining property that's not raised up without creating some kind of a major differential going on there. Like he's
Yeah,
got
you're
now.
going to have a differential between all three properties. You have 3 feet, 18 inches proposed, and then the one that is currently there.
Glenn, did you do any?
Plus, right?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The property at the lower end, that's flush with the next door property.
Yes.
Glenn, have you used any hydrographic modeling? So sort of flood modeling software at all? Are you familiar with any?
No, I've never used that before.
Right. No, it exists. I think it would be a good, this would be a good project for it to be utilized with.
Would you guys like to see the survey?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Let me just zoom out a little bit for you guys. I can zoom in if needed.
Does the property owner to the east have any intention of replacing their bulkhead at any point? Do we know that?
I think the one to the east just was recently in within the last couple months for a project. I'm not sure, but I'm about 95% sure that they came in for something. I don't exactly know what it was. It was a dock or the bulkhead or whatever.
Linnea, can you, do you guys remember that?
I believe he might be I'm not too sure. I don't want to misspeak.
Right. I'm just trying to see. So what's that address?
The
to the-
one next door.
Yeah, the property to the east, so that we can see if in fact that is.
It's 44A and 44B Basket Neck Lane, which we do have applications in for.
Have we reviewed that yet?
I do not
I don't-
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't, right, Bill?
No,
Was this-
No.
This might be something where it would be good to talk with the neighboring property owners.
It might have been
And
before the elections as well, too. Maybe that's why Mr. Parrish wasn't aware of it, but I'm 99% sure they came in for something.
Right, well, you're right, Glenn, that it's in the works here because at the end of Basket Neck Lane on the other side, does the bulkhead extend along there as well? In front of,
I think we
That's-
gave didn't we just give a permit to somebody?
We have an
Um,
application in for 44B Basket Neck Lane. We actually have a resolution on this afternoon's meeting.
Scott,
Yes.
we just gave an application to the property owner on the,
I don't think adjoining it though, right?
it was adjoining. Yes, it's on for resolution,
It is, okay,
The
yeah.
permit,
Yeah. but it's,
Yeah.
yes, it's the property though to the east. So, wait, hold on. Is it adjoining? Yeah, it's
this-
adjoining. So we've got one in, so there are three in a row. We're talking about the middle one. We just approved, I
This
think,
one.
in kind, in place.
That
the
one,
higher bulkhead.
That
the higher
one.
one.
Yes, and then the one to the west is in the works now, right, Jess? Isn't that what you just said? It hasn't come on for review yet.
I don't know about the
Isn't
one to
it-
the west. I know
So-
about
No,
the-
we,
This property where my mouse is right now is 44B Basket Neck Lane.
Zoom
we
out,
just went
Linnea,
over
because we can't.
we just did
Oh, you
that one.
can't see it? I'm sorry. Hold on.
No,
So
the
so
one
the
to the
other
west.
one's not,
This is the property 44B Basket Neck Lane. I didn't know if that was what you were speaking of, but I think that's what you're looking for.
That was the one, wasn't the guy wanted all the decking in front of his house because it would
That's-
increase
just
the
wanted to
value of
replace
it?
the pre-existing deck and rebuild that dock.
That's the property to the east.
Yeah, the one, yes, the one
Or
with the.
that's 44, that's, I think that's 44A. And then
This
the
one
property
here
to-
is, yeah, the first part of the parcel up here is 44A. The one
got-
behind it to the water
we-
is 44B.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's the
let-
one we,
zoom out, Linnea, and say that again, because I can't see the cursor.
Sorry, okay.
And then
So
move it,
this part of the parcel here, this is 44A Basket Neck. And right behind, this is 44B. This is the part of the property we did accept an application for.
Right.
okay. So then on the other side of the property, on the west side, what's that address? Yes,
This is 48 Basket Neck.
That one I don't think we have.
So we
no,
have 44B on the
Right.
section.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
that one, we've already
Darn.
done the work on. It's not, yeah.
okay, okay, sorry.
so we would
Okay.
approve the
Move on.
bulkhead at the current height elevation of about 3 feet above this bulkhead, right?
Well, it's already, yeah, he's already just staying with exactly where he's at.
Yeah. We
Right,
already vetted
existing
into
without
the work
increasing.
session.
Right.
So we don't know anything about 48. The
No.
property is right next to the.
Right.
Yeah.
And I,
Right.
and I don't think, based on the condition of the bulkhead for the applicant that we're reviewing, that we can stall him, you know,
No, I agree with you, Scott. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. I thought that 48 was in the
I-
pipeline, but it's not.
yeah. I just think we need to set a reasonable elevation on the transition. And, you know, let him maintain his property. Where's Glenn?
I'm here.
You know, speak to, again, the transition on the elevation and experience relative to how that's gonna, you know. And also, where are you at with the permits from the state?
We have all the other permits in hand.
And as the board's well aware, what the wording is, and does your state applications say, you know, increase up to 18 inches? What's the wording in your state permit for the bulkhead height?
The same, it's identical to this.
Right, so that's what they do. So they're leaving it up to us at the local level to set what this elevation is gonna be.
Correct.
They approved the step down, Glenn?
Yes. No,
Is it-
I'm sorry, no, that didn't come up until just the last meeting.
Right, but
Okay.
they're not fixed at 18, and it says up to 18.
Up to 18.
Up to 18, so he could do whatever number it is up to
Right.
that number. He just can't go beyond that number.
I
So
understand.
they're leaving it for us to set what that number's gonna be, more, consistent with site-specific considerations for adjoining property and elevation there. As, they factor it differently than we do. I don't know, what's the rest of the board feel about this transition that he's proposing?
If you're confident, Glenn, and assured that it's worked in other situations, especially with this kind of fetch and on the open bay,
Mm.
I'm
Frankly, we'd rather keep 18 all the way across, but, there was some consideration, some concern from the board, we felt.
You would take it 18 all the way across.
Yeah,
What do you think, Edward?
I think 18 inches all the way across would be appropriate.
Ed, which way does the current flow along there? What's the predominant littoral drift? Is it east to west?
If you zoom out, you can see the little harbor there, and I think it looks like it's from west to east. It's the opposite.
Hmm.
I think
I
that
mean,
the only,
a southwesterly wind up there is brutal, and it's,
Right.
very
Well,
rough.
the only time you're gonna have a big issue is on a heavy storm event. Some really heavy storm, and in those events, all bets are off, obviously.
Mhm.
So. What do you think, Trustee?
I'd be more in favor of it being stepped because we're seeing the results of the neighboring bulkhead not having any kind of stepping with the degradation and the overwash on this property.
Well, his property's got, it's severely deteriorated,
Yes.
Yeah, the bulkhead has been failing for years, so
Right.
that basically has caused
It's
the
barely
material
fed
to be
up now.
pulled out.
right.
Right.
Trustee Parish, what are your thoughts on it, from your,
Let me just, if I may, the buffer zone here is going to be almost up to the back line of that pool there that you can see in the photograph too. It's a big buffer zone.
Right. But you're asking for a boardwalk along the entire 174 feet,
Correct.
bulkhead, a 4-foot wide one. I'm
Right.
wondering if perhaps that could be shrunk a bit. That's been our practice recently to minimize the amount of the boardwalk, especially on long stretches of bulkhead like this, so that there can be plantings immediately adjacent to the bulkhead for number one, for the potential overwash in storms, and number two, for enhanced nutrient absorption by the roots of the beach grass and other native plantings.
I think the 18 inches across, if you can tie it in and you say that would work.
I don't think he heard you, Ann. Glenn,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes.
Trustee Welker was talking about that she was saying that she thought that you should shrink down your boardwalk to incorporate more beach grass or what have you along that.
The width of it or the length of it?
The
I think she's
length of
talking
it.
about the length of it. Our blue book doesn't call for that. But, in working with, property owners to try and find a balance between, what the needs are of the property owner, and trying to buffer and do better planning along the shorefront. Is there a balance that you think would work with this property owner? Everybody wants good water quality. And sometimes it boils down to just a balance. I mean, I can understand that they want to be able to walk up and down and utilize, the whole area. And I appreciate and respect that. I just think that from a balance perspective, are there areas where, the capping is wide enough to be walking down and then have, the walkway for certain areas? And then I know you're going to do an extensive buffer here. So is there a way to do that? Or is your owner, since he's doing so much buffer, is he, just wants the whole thing?
Frankly, I'd have to speak to the owner on this one. I wouldn't feel comfortable making the call right at the moment, but in retrospect, I don't want to see any more delay in this as well. I could reach out to the owner today.
Trustee Pell.
I think I would, with that, doing 18 inches all the way down across.
Yeah, I think that's the best resolution. I do.
Yeah, because going up and down, because going up and down causes trouble later on.
I think Trustee Parrish concurs with that based on what you have going on here.
I think the potential, but elevating the bulkhead to the east and on a severe storm event where you got a southeaster turning to a southwester and you get extreme flooding, that's going to pinch all that water in there. I'm talking about 3 or 4 feet above normal tides, and it's going to wreck his property. So I think having, more of a level property where the water can come in on a tidal rise with the wind event and recede quickly when the tide goes down on the whole property, I think that would minimize the property damage.
So really, you're just talking about 14 inches, then you're going to have what, a 4-inch differential there, Glenn?
Buffer, yeah. I mean, lip, yes.
Right, 4-inch lip?
Yes.
Right, so you're only talking 14, so. Okay. What do you think, Trustee Parrish?
What about the length of the boardwalk? I don't think that was settled on.
Well, the Blue Book regulations are what they are. I don't think he's prepared to answer that question based on not having a conversation with his client.
Presently, there's no boardwalk there whatsoever. There's a natural vegetated waterfront being a bulkhead, which the property is that's a good steward property. Basically, you're looking at the property now with maximum drainage, matching root system, and now we're adding hundreds of square feet of structure, which is not going to have any root system. It's just going to be, basically this property has a walkway that goes to a dock and, some of a smaller decking behind it where you can put a beach chair and, kayak and, a deck box would be appropriate. But I think the whole entire 9 yards, I think that's just overkill being it's.
But he's got a 75-foot mandated buffer on this property. He's already got a non-disturbance, non-fertilization buffer, I believe, covenanted on this property. Is that correct, Glenn?
That was something that was just done through the Conservation Board recently.
Right. So he's already got a gigantic buffer on there. So, you know what, a lot of times you balance, you got to find balance in these things. You got to.
How long is the proposed decking behind there?
The entire length of the bulkhead, 174 feet, I believe.
So it's 174 feet times 4 of a hardened structure.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot of, runoff that comes into the bay or it's without root structure. I think part of that should be the whole entire thing should be, a natural buffer. And then allow
75 feet. He's already given up 75 feet of his property.
That was to get but that was to get a pool.
I understand that was mitigation, but the reality
Yeah,
is that mitigation still provides what it provides. If you're worried about runoff coming off of that walkway, you could design that walkway with compliant material and spacing so that water is going to recharge back into the sand right there. So you're,
Well, Scott, I mean, I'm gonna say, I think a 75 by 4 foot walkway would be appropriate here. It might
and how
even be
much
a little bit,
capping?
and then you have 2 foot capping running the rest of it, which
Right.
will allow you to walk down there. So you're basically, I mean, how many beach chairs and how much stuff are you gonna put in front of this house on this 4 foot, I mean, 75 by 4 would allow you a dozen beach chairs, just about.
What do you think of that, Glenn?
Again, I've done it with you folks on a couple of projects already. We've reduced the size of these walkways. And it was no problem with the other property owners, but I really truly have to go back to the homeowner.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you want to hold this till the March? I mean, our next meeting is March 7th. So
Yes.
the only thing we could do is put it on for work session for March 7th. Speak to your client, take a look at the tweak that they're recommending, cutting it down. You're not going to lose all of the access along the front because you'll still have a 2-foot capping, right? So you would be wider in certain areas. I mean, I understand this property owner's giving up 75 foot of buffer for what they're doing, and they have been good stewards. The bulkhead does need to be replaced. There's some issues there. I just think it's about, getting that balance between protecting the waterway, protecting the environment, and allowing people to utilize, their property, that they choose to do. So how do we strike the balance?
We're not asking for the 75-foot buffer. We're just asking for what is in our jurisdiction, the last line of defense for Moriches Bay.
I understand.
I'm
And
looking,
Also, Ed, yeah, like you were talking about, you're still gonna have washover during storms. With
Yes.
that much boardwalk, it's gonna create more problems for his own property. So, like you say, shorten it up. And that way, when you have an overwash during storms, the water goes right into the root systems, into the
Yes.
sand.
So I think the only thing that you really can do, Glenn, is wait, unless you,
Yes.
put it on for the 7th, talk to your client, see what they want to do.
and
That's
discuss,
what we could do, but I just don't want to delay it anymore, and I'll speak to them today.
Okay.
we
Right.
still though, Glenn, have to hold it, so it won't go on until the March 7th meeting. So, and if
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
when
it
you
would,
dis-
that's the best case scenario, no matter what.
Yep. So when you discuss reducing the boardwalk, if you speak to 1/2 to 2/3 reduction, because what I'm looking at is the aerial, and with the exception of one property in this stretch, there are no properties that have boardwalks.
All right, we're good with that?
Yes,
You know where we're at?
Thanks, Glenn.
thank you. Be well.
Great day, Glenn.
Take care, Glenn.
Okay. We got DKR Shores here. You've got Dinker Jetley at 123 South Road in West Hampton.
Hold on one second.
You know who's in for that?
Gina? From DKR?
Yeah,
Is
she's not
she-
here.
She's not.
That's who's on the app, Regina.
She's afraid.
You want to, let's go to his next one then. You want to look at this one or you want to wait for Gina?
Let's move on.
Okay, so go to 280 Dune Road LLC.
Just
Village
give
to
me
West
1
Hampton.
second to pull up some of the permits, please.
Of course. Bill, do you want to read the description if you have
Yep,
it right
I
there?
have it. I'm pulling it out here. This is an applicant proposes to install a small boat ramp with an existing bulkhead structure. Approximately 25 cubic yards of existing soil to be removed to create a launch ramp for a small boat or jet ski. The ramp surface is to be comprised of McNichols fiberglass open grade over a gravel base, and all work to be landward of the bulkhead structure.
So could we see, is there presently bulkhead there? Or
Looks
is
like
it natural shoreline? Could we see the pictures, Linnea? I think it's natural shoreline.
They're actually,
No, there is bulkhead.
No, I think it's all bulkhead. If you look at the plans,
there were
Oh.
no pictures submitted.
Oh,
I'm
No
just gonna
pictures?
get them to the right angle for you guys, so bear with me.
Is anybody here from land
Uh-huh.
use for this application?
I'm here. Can you hear
There you
me?
go.
How are you, Scott?
Good. How are you,
guys?
sir?
Very well.
Morning,
thank
Chuck.
you. Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Hi, Chuck.
Yeah, this is pretty simple. Mr. Denahan, who actually owns this lot and the adjacent lot to the west, is building a new house. He's combining the lots. The property to the west already has a dock on it. And the only purpose of this is to be able to have a way for his family to, throw in a kayak or a sunfish and take it over to the dock. It's all behind the existing bulkhead. There'll be no impact to Rich's Bay at all. And it's just a way for him to be able to slide, a small boat or, again, a kayak, sunfish, little sailboat in, and then be able to take it out, because it's tough to be able to pull it over the bulkhead and do it. And actually, it's a good thing. He's actually combining two lots, building a new house with an IA system too. So it's all a part of that.
Do you have permits from other agencies yet, Chuck? for
We have,
this?
we have the DEC permit and the Army Corps permit for it. And along that waterway, of course, we were trying to avoid asking for something to go out into the waterway. That's why it's coming back into the property. And we've done these types of ramps before, which the trustees have approved, which is basically, gravel with an open grate on it. It seems to actually work very, very well.
what are the bulkhead walls going to be made of from the opening?
Oh, well, it'd be non-treated lumber. I mean, they'd have to be, where it's being cut out.
Yeah, when it goes up to the ramp, up to the beginning of the ramp.
Well, I think we'd have to conform to the trustees' requirements on it, on non-treated lumber.
Oh, I
or
see.
plastic.
I see. Now you said you proposed new vinyl bulkhead of 20 feet.
Right.
Where have we done this before?
We did one in Quogue, which I sure can give you that information, where we replaced, there was a kind of an old boat ramp, which we used the same materials on it. It's down Aesop's Neck Lane at the point down there. I don't recall the address, but I certainly can send it to you. That actually has worked very well. And we've used it other places on Long Island as far as boat ramps go, because obviously you don't want to, do concrete or any other harder structure. And again, this is just for a small boat. We're not going to be launching 20-foot off the whalers here.
Ramps off of properties were common practice before they introduced hydraulic lifts and stuff like that, which people now use for their, sailboats. They lift them up or,
Right.
So this was a common place for
Right.
for decades along the waterfront. So, I mean, it's something
and
that
yeah.
I think
It
it's
is. It's site specific, this type of a ramp. You got a heavier use ramp. I think you need a bit of a heavier type of an application for it. for what you're talking about here, I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, this is, again, really, it's, they want to throw their sunfish in and go sailing.
I think
It
it's
does,
fine.
it does
Little
allow
inflatable.
more benefit to the property for, recreational uses.
Could we see the plans again, please?
Whenever you want me to scroll, just let me know.
You can scroll. Thanks, Linnea.
Yeah, and keep in mind that the lot, if you go back down to where it shows the ramp, the lot to the west is also the same owner, and these lots are being combined. See the lot to the west that the bulkhead goes, there's a dock on the lot to the west.
Right.
And that's the dock that they're going to maintain and use. But they're combining the two properties. So the only purpose of this is to be able to take small watercraft and not have to haul it over the bulkhead.
I'm good with it.
I'm fine with it.
I'm good with it.
So let's
Trustee Parish.
move it also. Fairly straightforward. Now, special conditions.
Yes, please.
There weren't any on the first page that I could
Just
see at least.
standard conditions. Notify the board. They have to get all the other permits from the other authorities.
Anything else besides those two?
I don't think there's anything on there else that applies for what he's doing.
Okay. Before I close it out, anybody else? No.
I'm good.
All right. You have anything else there before us here, Charles? I don't think so, huh?
No, I don't think so. I will leave you guys and hopefully you have a great meeting this afternoon.
Thank
And,
you.
Hope everybody's healthy and stay that way.
Thank you. You too.
See ya.
So I would,
Did Agina come on? I know we have to go, Scott. I was just.
yeah, we
checking.
do, but I think we should move Regina if she's not there to the work session on March 7th.
Yep, she's not here. So
Let's move whatever we had to, Jess, over to March 7th work session.
123 South Road.
Yep, you guys got it. No problem.
Okay, and then we're gonna move Mr. Glenn Just over there as well. With the 46 Basket Neck, right? And we're gonna move 23 Marlin over there, because Shoreline couldn't get in.
Yep.
And then, okay, all right, so I think that pretty much concludes our work session agenda. What I think we should do is adjourn the meeting. I think we should go to the bridge call immediately after we adjourn this. And then obviously we have an 11:15 a.m. executive session in which you all have that information. Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so if I could get a motion to adjourn and
I'll make a
into-
motion to adjourn to go into executive session.
I'll second it.
it's for the purposes of discussing personnel and legal litigation. Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.